Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. You know the drill. Every Monday around these parts, we do a masterclass with Professor Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson. Before I bring him into the studio, I want to remind you how you can become a part of this discussion. If you have any questions for the good professor, the telephone numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272. And we are also streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 and Michelle Malcolm Facebook pages, as well as our official channels on YouTube. You can also call or text us on our WhatsApp line, 8010271, 8010271. And you can catch us on Cable Bahamas channel 974. All right. So now that you know how you can tune in, it's time to bring in our guest, Professor Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson. He told me today that a lot of people have his first name and a lot of people have his last name. But you ain't nobody got all four of them. Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson. That's a heavy name there.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Malcolm. It certainly is. My mother and my father and my grandaunt named me. My father named me after his brother Syndey. My mother named me after her father, Walter. And my aunt named me McArthur after General Douglas MacArthur.
Okay.
So, and of course, Thompson being the last name.
Right.
And I did say that a lot of people have the first name and the last name.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made up my mind, particularly when I came into broadcasting, that I would use the entire name, Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson. And so there's only one Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I hope so.
You won't find any other. It's good to be here, Ms. Malcolm. It's rather warm today, but it's a good day to talk about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You know, that's one of my favorite subjects. And Bahamians, you know, you and I have a responsibility to help save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas because we do have a number of serious issues. And I'm delighted to see that we are dealing with this particular statute law, which contravenes the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. In fact, I had said on a number of occasions I was going to go through one of the most recent ones, but this one was passed July of 1973. That's way back, 50 years.
Mhm.
And I did not know that was going to be the first one for me to tackle, but we had to because some things are going contrary, which are not constitutionally sound. We have to watch our leaders to see whether they are constitutionally sound according to the Constitution, because the Constitution is supreme law. You do not mix supreme law with statute law. That is
Mhm.
what the Nationality Act is doing. Now, if you want to have some laws relating to other things, well, that's fine, but the two just don't mix because one is supreme. That's the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Mhm.
And Bahamians, you have to know this document very well because there is some serious work that has to be done. I will be calling on you, others will be calling on you, because we have to do this together. This is not the work for one particular personality or two or three people. It's very, very serious. And we have a country to save. Our Constitution is our salvation document.
Mhm. All right. So, just for the sake of those who are not familiar or who haven't been tuning in every Monday for these shows, we are going through the Constitution line by line, article by article, but we sort of took a detour
Yes.
when we realized that many of the decisions that are being made as relates to citizenship and nationality appear to be based on what is written in the Bahamas Nationality Act, which is not the same as the Constitution of the Bahamas.
Correct.
So what we decided to do was compare the two, because there are some things within the Bahamas Nationality Act which, from what appears on the surface, contradict what's in the Constitution. But yet, we know that the Constitution is the supreme law.
Yes.
So we thought it would be advantageous for us to look at the Nationality Act side by side with the Constitution of the Bahamas, to compare the two and to see whether, or to ask the question, I should say, whether or not we need to revisit this Nationality Act so that it is in alignment with the Constitution of the Bahamas. So that's where we are at. In case you have joined in late or haven't been tuning into these Masterclass Monday shows, we are now looking at the Bahamas Nationality Act in comparison with the Constitution. And this is not to say that once we go through this, we won't go back to 100% focusing on the Constitution. We just thought it was necessary to compare the two because it seems that many of the decisions that are being made as it relates to citizenship and nationality are being made based on what is written in the Nationality Act. So I just wanted to set the stage as for why we decided to sort of detour and start discussing the Nationality Act in the middle of a discussion on the Constitution.
Yes.
Because, we need to figure out what's going on in this country.
But I certainly agree with you, Ms. Malcolm, because the Bahamian people need to understand that you have to watch your leaders.
Mhm.
You give them responsibility. You have to check up on those leaders to see whether those leaders are constitutionally sound. Because if your decisions are not constitutionally sound, it's going to put the country in plenty of trouble. That's point number one. Point number two, it is imperative that we build the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have suffered a whole lot. I know of a lot of people who I've known personally who are deceased now. They wanted a better country. They want to see something different from what we are looking at today. And they have their children, their grandchildren, and some great-grand, and some even great-great-grand that are living today, but we have not yet achieved the objectives that are clearly outlined in our Constitution. The country is something that we need to protect. And it's going to take the collective will of the Bahamian people to look at this thing objectively, line by line, word by word, as I sometimes say, because you have a role to play in making sure that your leaders stay on a sound footing.
Mhm.
And when they go wrong, then you have to tell them that they are off base. They're not constitutionally sound. Because anything that's contrary to the Constitution is not constitutionally sound. And some bad decisions are going to be made, and we're going to suffer because of it.
Okay. And perhaps that is what we're seeing happening in our country today,
Precisely.
where we're living beneath the privileges of our Constitution simply because we just don't know what's contained therein, or because we have not required our leaders to know and to follow what is contained therein. And so therefore we all are at a disadvantage because of it. So the aim of these Masterclass Monday shows is to take away that excuse, to make sure that the information is readily available out there for everyone under the sound of our voices, to have a better understanding of the Constitution, its rights, its privileges, and its responsibilities,
Amen.
so that we can all live better lives in this Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Because that's really what everybody wants.
Exactly.
Everybody just wants to live a decent.
We want to be better citizens.
Yeah.
So we have to help those who are responsible for governing the country. You just can't close your eyes and leave it up to them. Because the possibility in dealing with it that way is you're going to find that a lot of error will be made, and you have to point things out to your representative, to your ministers, to the government of the day, to appointed leaders and the elected ones as well. Because, we all have to live here. I don't want to go to any other country. You see what's happening in Sudan, having a lot of trouble over there.
Yeah.
And Bahamians, we can avoid a whole lot of things. And I believe when you look at our history, the peace and the tranquility of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that has been around for almost 300 years, we must never take that for granted, because hardly any other country on the planet has that kind of record. From 1729 right on up to now, the last election in 2021 was extremely peaceful. You couldn't even have a pin drop on the ground. It was so peaceful. So we have a track record of credibility that we need to keep. Do not let anybody make you believe that you have to be violent in order to bring change. We have proven that is not the case. So let us work. See, today, let me just say this before we go. Today we have something so much better to work with than to be thinking about violence. Many other countries don't have it. They want a democracy like the Sudan people, but they're having trouble just trying to get it established.
We take some things for granted.
We take it for granted, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. We don't realize that what happens in the Bahamas so easily doesn't happen everywhere like that. Sometimes
That's
they
correct.
have some serious unrest. We have a call on the line already. Caller,
Wow.
welcome to GPS.
Yes, good morning, Sister Malcolm.
Good morning.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
This is Kendall Hanna from Freeport.
Be right behind you both. Good morning, and it's 2:17 in the afternoon. Good afternoon,
Good
Kendall.
afternoon.
Okay,
I
Miss
apologize.
Malcolm, I'm scared because you always just cut me off easy, and I stopped calling so much because everybody's have a dandy talk, and I said, Jesus, Miss Malcolm ain't cut them off. So this quick, Professor, this for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
You remember? You remember when I called a couple of months ago or a year ago, and I said we don't have no constitution and we don't go by the constitution, and you made me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. Now and then you say, Sister Malcolm, you'll take that. Then you say, I'll take it. This the same Kendall Hanna.
Yes.
Now we had to get exposure from the United States. They say we don't go the Bahamas. Don't go by the constitution, and because people waiting on their papers when they was children and still can't get it. It's nothing right. And they made their own law and not gone by the Constitution. And I told you that way back then. And now I'm saying it again. Not to bash you. Me living here and being a little educated, not too much, but a little knowledgeable and know the law and listen to the news and follow everything like I follow Sister Malcolm. That I know since I was here from 1998, something is wrong because it can't be like this. So all the while, we was going by our own law. We was never going by the Constitution. And that's why I said, if y'all played the tape a couple months ago, year ago, that's why I said, we don't got no Constitution. We don't go by it. We have it, but the leaders never go by it. So what I'm trying to say is, they said, like C.R. Jordan said, the hospital fee agreement. They say they signed a new bill. They never signed nothing. So how come they keep that secret from us? They never signed nothing. It's still the old cost of fee agreement. They can change it if they want to. They don't want to change this, but they don't want to stay in bondage. That's why they don't go by the Constitution. Y'all have a good day, Sister Malcolm. Thank you for letting me stay a little longer. Love you. See you later. Yeah.
Let me just make one correction.
Oh,
with the caller. And I can understand what he's saying. The Hawksbill Creek Agreement is not the Constitution. It's a statute law. And sometimes people get things mixed up, and I can understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
The mere fact that we are not going by the Constitution is why we're having all those problems in Grand Bahama. And I've never heard those people who are talking about Grand Bahama ever mention about the Constitution. And I kept saying to myself, well, where does the Constitution fit into all of this? That's the supreme law of the country. No Hawksbill Creek Agreement could supersede that. But be that as it may, we have to know it, we have to learn it. And these classes are to help the average Bahamian to understand in basic fundamental language the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And the better we know it, the better for the country.
All right. So let's dive right in. I think when we last left off, we had not quite gotten to Article 3.4
Yes,
in
ma'am.
the Bahamas Nationality Act. I think we covered the thing about a person being born out of wedlock. We covered
That's
that,
correct.
right?
Yes, we did, yeah.
Okay. So that was Article 3.3. So now we're going to go to
3-4.
Article 3.4. And then that'll take us to Part 2, which is the acquisition of citizenship. And again, this is the Bahamas Nationality Act
Yes.
that we're looking at now. And I suspect that Part 2 will be quite contentious. But anyway,
You'll see.
okay, so we're looking at Article 3, Section 4 of the Bahamas Nationality Act. It says, for the purposes of this act, a person born aboard a registered ship or aircraft shall be deemed to have been born in the place where the ship or aircraft was registered. And a person born on board an unregistered ship or aircraft of the government of any country shall be deemed to have been born in that country. I'll read it again. For the purposes of this act, and again, this is the Bahamas Nationality Act,
Yes.
a person born aboard a registered ship or aircraft shall be deemed to have been born in the place where the ship or aircraft was registered.
Yes.
And a person born on board an unregistered ship or aircraft of the government of any country shall be deemed to have been born in that country.
I certainly hope we will apply it. It's a direct quote from the Constitution itself, which
Okay.
is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but the application of the law, because, a lot of people come by sea,
Right?
right? And there's a lot of mixing up in there. We have to have enforcement of law, because you have a lot of people in such circumstances, whether
Mhm.
it's on an aircraft or a ship. That's how they get in here,
Mm-hmm.
because there ain't no land for them to walk on
Right.
until they reach here.
Right.
It is a very serious issue, and I'm happy the Constitution has it that way. Now it's a matter of enforcing it, because we haven't been enforcing that. Everybody who lands in here say they're Bahamian, and that's not what the law says. Okay, so there's some misunderstanding, some thing that is not clear, and it's the duty of the authorities to make sure that these things are looked after and cleared for. Those are responsible for enforcing the law. That is their responsibility. And we as citizens have to watch and see, is it happening? Yes or no? Because we have a whole lot of people coming in here by ship or even by aircraft, sneaking in
Mm-hmm.
and saying that they've been here for X number of years and they now want to be citizens of the country. So we have a lot of mixing up in here from all these different entities, all these different nations, people from all over. So we have to be very careful how we handle citizenship under those circumstances, because our country has what they call porous borders.
Yes.
Maybe we need to work on that and see how best we can scrutinize persons coming into the country. We have to have better control over our borders. We just can't say, well, they're wide open and you're not doing anything about it. We have a responsibility as a nation to take care of our borders. We are a sovereign, democratic, theocratic, independent state. And people got to understand that carries a lot of weighty responsibility, taking care of your borders, taking care of your national affairs, the protection of your country. You just can't have people just walking in and doing and acting as they please. And unfortunately, we see a lot of that. Every time you look around, you see some strange faces. And you know they're not Bahamian.
So to make sure I understand this correctly, but I think it's pretty straightforward about what happens if a person is born on a registered ship.
Mm-hmm.
Then if that ship is registered in the Bahamas, no matter where in the world that ship is, if the person is born out to sea on a ship that's registered in the Bahamas, they're considered born in the Bahamas. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, for a person who is born on board an unregistered ship or aircraft
Right.
of the government of any country.
Yes.
So does that mean that if you have migrants coming into the country on a boat and a child is born on that unregistered vessel within Bahamian waters, that child is still considered a citizen of not the country in the waters in which they were born because the vessel is unregistered, but a citizen of the country from which the vessel came? Is that what that means?
That is correct, yes. That's correct. Because you see, the thing is that you have people doing all kinds of funny things, right? They're sneaking in here, trying to get into the place without properly being entering the country. This is something we have to take very seriously. And unfortunately, I believe the authorities are not putting enough effort and enough time into it. I see right in my own area some strange faces that I know don't even live there. We have a problem right now with persons coming into our area and some people wearing some strange things, right?
When you say wearing strange things, what do you mean?
Well, they call them ankle bracelets.
Oh, okay.
But there seems to be no proper monitoring for these individuals. Fella's supposed to be living in Fox Hill, but all he's down to be in Fort Castle. What the hell is he doing out there? He doesn't live there. Okay, so it creates a problem, and I've reported this to the police. The police have not acted responsibly. Central Police Station. They do not come when you report these things to them, and we have Miss Skippings, or Mrs. Skippings, I think her name is, keep telling us, call the police. What do you do when they don't come? Because they keep ignoring the fact that these people have what you call unlawful assembly. That's the statute law now, that ain't constitutional law. And that act about unlawful assembly has a whole lot in it because it's a threat to the community. It's a threat to the livelihood of the people who are there. They're doing all kinds of funny things. Then you have these unlawful assemblies. And the police are yet to do something about it because it's disturbing the peace, drinking liquor, shouting and carrying on, using obscenities all the time, day and night around the clock. But they don't live there. So what are they doing in the community? So the thing is that I see a lot of other strange personalities, and they're entering the community, right? They speak a funny language. They don't speak English at all, period. Okay, so you know they come from somewhere else. All right, and you see how they act, you see how they behave. And people are going to tell me I don't know what a Bahamian is, and I'm a real, genuine Bahamian, and I don't know what a Bahamian is. I don't know a stranger from a Bahamian. You got to be joking. We have too many strangers in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas right now, and I think we need to take some drastic measures in curbing this number. We don't even know who's in the country. We don't know. One person made a statement some time ago, 150,000 of them. The governor of the Bahamas is yet to answer it. Okay, they haven't answered it. You just let people come in your country, go in the Prime Minister's office and make those kind of statements right in front of your top leaders in your country, and you just simply let them walk away. That doesn't make any sense. So they show total disrespect for the office when any and everybody could just go in and see who they want to see and do what they want to do. Whereas genuine Bahamian citizens have difficulty getting their matters cleared when it comes to agencies of the state. You got to go through all kind of rigmarole. So yes, we have to watch these migrants, they call them migrants, coming into the country illegally. And I notice now they got some other terminology for these people. I see they keep changing it all the time. But they're still illegal aliens. And in this act, they call it what an alien is. All right? But the point is that this is a very serious problem. Undocumented people coming on aircrafts, coming on ships into the Bahamas, not accounted for. They just mixed into the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you about it, if I might just mention while it's in my head, about the census, because they're supposed to be doing
Make
that.
it quick because music playing. We got to take a break.
I'm not even on that census, and a lot of my family members are not on it.
Right.
And I'm disappointed about that.
Okay.
But that's another matter.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to turn our attention to part 2 of the Bahamas Nationality Act in comparison with the Constitution of the Bahamas. Part 2 deals with the acquisition of citizenship. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday, where we are looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas, line by line, article by article. And we sort of digressed a bit and now looking at the Bahamas Nationality Act in comparison to the Constitution of the Bahamas. Remember now, the Constitution of the Bahamas is the supreme law, despite what is written in the Nationality Act. The telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM page and the official Michelle Malcolm page. If you haven't already done so, like and share the show. Let everybody know that GPS is on the air on this Masterclass Monday. We're talking once again about the Constitution of the Bahamas. We're also streaming live on YouTube on the official channel of Global 99.5 FM or Michelle Malcolm. And you can catch us on Cable Bahamas channel 974 on Cable Bahamas. That's where you can find us there. And we invite you to join in and be a part of this most important conversation. All right, so we're turning our attention now. Once again, we're going to the Bahamas. Oh, I forgot we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Miss Michelle.
Hi.
And good afternoon to Professor.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I have a question that will deviate from what you were talking about. And my question is this. Can a sovereign, say for example, the United Nations, pass a decree, say to a sovereign nation like the Bahamas, that they should detest and desist the deportation of all illegals immediately? Can that happen?
No, it doesn't have to happen because you could ignore it. You're a sovereign, independent nation. Your job is to look out for your interests of your people. That would be a suggestion which they have in their heads, but you don't have to obey it.
By the way, that's what is being circulated.
Oh, I heard it today. I just smiled when I heard it. See, this is why it is so important that you have quality people running your national affairs. And then a good observation that you heard or got to know about. The thing is that in this day and age, leaders have to stand strong for their people. If you have leaders who simply bow and shank to what other people are saying, that's very unfortunate. It's not going to help the country at all, period.
Well, one question, Professor. What course of action you would instruct the iconic Bahamians to take charge of?
I think you better clarify that for me. Let me make sure I understand what you're asking.
No,
I gotta give you a constitutional answer. So please, clarified for me.
Okay.
Next prong is the trial.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, thanks for calling. All right, let's get back to what we're supposed to be talking about here now. All right, and that is part 2 of the Acquisition of Citizenship of the Bahamas Nationality Act. I'm just going to read from it,
Yes,
picking
ma'am.
up at section 4 under part 2. It says, where under a law enforced in the Bahamas relating to the adoption of children, an adoption order is made by a competent court in respect of a minor who is not a citizen of the Bahamas, then if the adopter, or in any case of a joint adoption, the male adopter is a citizen of the Bahamas, the minor shall become a citizen of the Bahamas from the date of the order.
You got to be careful of that kind of thing. That's very dangerous.
Why so?
Simply because it's not constitutionally sound.
How
That's
so?
why.
How so?
The Constitution of the Commonwealth Bahamas speaks specifically as it relates to citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Any deviation from that is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to have laws relating to adoption, that's one thing. But do not mix it up with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. That's nonsense. Utter nonsense and foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, however they set this up, obviously somebody had some ulterior motives. Because when I saw just the heading, the 4 things that they say this act's supposed to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
I became suspicious of it right on the spot. Because I said, listen, the Constitution speaks clearly to those 4 things and other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
You do not mix constitutional law with statute law. Okay? You have to be very careful of that. Where does the child come from? What nationality is the child? See, all those factors you have to consider. The point is that we have to be very careful. And then they talk about dependence now. You see that part where they talk about dependence in this act?
Mm-hmm.
Of any other country? You want to flood this place over with dependent on a particular personality who comes here? This place would be flooded out in no time.
So could it be that this was included in the Nationality Act because the Constitution of the Bahamas failed to address the question of adoption?
Let's put it this way. The question of adoption is a different kettle of fish altogether. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You can deal with that, but don't mix it up with constitutional law. I have a problem with that because I see exactly where this thing is going. It is not in the best interest of the Bahamian people to mix constitutional law and statute law. That's a dangerous mixture.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read it the first time, I knew they were completely off. When I saw the word alien in there and some other funny things they wrote, I said, wait a minute now. Something's wrong with this. This is completely contrary to the... See, the Constitution speaks clearly to citizenship. So what are you fooling with it for? If you want to speak to adoption, well, then you go ahead with the adoption. But don't mix it with the Constitution. I have a serious problem with that. Because right there, you can see some other strange things that they're going to mention further down in this act, which are not constitutionally sound. As long as a statute law doesn't contravene constitutional law,
Mm-hmm.
no problem. They could keep going with it. Where it contravenes constitutional law, as a whole horse of a different color.
And in your view, that particular clause does contravene.
That whole section contravenes the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
That whole section. The way how, see, this, the way how it's worded, Ms. Malcolm, listen to the wording.
Mm-hmm.
See the language that is written in. See, I am so keen now on this, having studied constitutional law. You look at it and you say, what are they saying to me? What are you trying to put on me now? If you want to deal with adoption of children, go ahead and deal with that. But when it comes to constitutional law about citizenship, the Constitution is crystal clear on that. We got a whole section of articles that deal with it. How you should qualify. Huh? It tells you about the person having to renounce their nationality in another country. I mean, what are we saying? There's no more renunciation anymore. You just walk right in. You drop that one. He's a citizen. Boom. Case closed. That's the kind of nonsense we're going to be doing now, or have done, maybe since 1973. I don't know. I have to find out how many citizens have been added to this country from July the 10th, 1973 up to now. Are they going to outnumber the indigenous population? Because the thing is, the government of the Bahamas hasn't put a hold on applications.
You sure about that?
Not that I know of. But tell them, let's prove it then. Because the man is saying that they're looking at these different applications. They are overflowing with applications. What is the required number that we're going to put out there and say we can't take any
how
more?
can you put a hold on applications if the Constitution gives a particular person a right to apply?
Ms. Malcolm, there's such a thing as national security, public safety. Okay? You have to act in the best interest of your country. The Constitution gives you the power to do that. You're going to keep gorging food into your stomach until you bust wide open? Is that what you're going to do? Knowing is not going to help you. Knowing is not to your advantage. It's to your destruction. So we just keep adding more and more people, more and more people, more and more people from all these different entities. Don't speak a word of English. Know nothing about the Bahamian way of life. And you just keep piling them in because someone has a twisted attitude or a twisted mind. And then what kind of country do you have? A botched up, mixed up country. You wouldn't even know this place after a while. If we don't know it now. But I'm saying that we have an opportunity to stop it and change course before it gets to the point where it's totally out of control. We need to know how many persons have been naturalized year by year, from what nations they were naturalized from. See, that's statistical information the ministry should have. But they just say some things, and some of the things what immigration is doing now, the Ministry of National Security, the Ministry of Nationality and Immigration. Some things they're doing that are unconstitutional, even on their own forms. They got forms that are unconstitutional, which they've been using.
Wow.
I mean, what are we saying? Huh? So I have a problem when you violate constitutional law. You don't mix statute law with constitutional law. One is above the other, way over. And it's supreme. What that say, that's it. That's final. That don't change. Unless it's done by a referendum. And you know, some fellas don't want a referendum. Why? Why don't want a referendum? When the Constitution says you must have a referendum. But then what's the point of having a government in place that doesn't want to follow the Constitution? Right there, that's a red flag goes up. Because obviously some people have their own mindset to do something which would probably be quite unconstitutionally sound. That's just it. And we're seeing the effects of that. So we have to be very careful. Flooding this place up with foreigners, oh, we got plenty of islands, so we need to put them there. We had these islands from the beginning, and they were not cluttered with people. So what are you talking about now? You only add as you need to have. They're saying now how flooded New Providence is with people on it. A vast percent, I think they say 70%, if I heard a quote today, 70% or more of the people living in the Bahamas live right here on New Providence. So does that mean we just flood up the family islands and bring more people to New Providence? In the little space we have here? Is that what we want?
I pray not, because we're already oversaturated as it is. We have a
Yeah,
call on the
saturated,
line.
yes.
Caller, welcome to GPS.
Sister Malcolm
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Thompson,
Yes, sir.
I got one question to ask, and I want to know if this is in the Constitution. Grand Bahama Utility and Port Authority, they two people acting like one in Freeport, Grand Bahama. They put up the water bill, and they acting like there's one person. No, they acting like there's two person, and they one person doing these things. That's untrue. That's in the Constitution, or that's unconstitutionalized.
Let me answer that this way. I think what you're dealing with is statute law with the Port Authority. I've heard a lot of people talk about developing Grand Bahama, but not a single soul has ever mentioned about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So as far as I'm concerned, all of them off base. Completely off base. Now, I'm not saying if the statute law is intact, fine, and it's not unconstitutional. All I'm saying is I've been hearing all kinds of conversations from prominent people in that island. Not a single word about the Bahamas Constitution. They say they want to build a community, but not a word about it.
I want you to make me understand, Professor, if Port Authority and the Grand Bahama Utility, the water place, acting like two people and it's one person, that's unconstitutional. That's in the Constitution, or that's I have a problem. I'm not understanding that. How one person could act like two.
What I think you need to understand is with those companies down there in Grand Bahama, they are acting under statute law. There's nothing in the Constitution that speaks specifically to those two entities. But what you have is you have a Constitution, and I've never heard them refer to the Constitution when it comes to Grand Bahama.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. That means we don't go by the Constitution. I understand. But ain't they supposed to go to jail for not going by the Constitution of the Bahamas?
But I hear the comment. The Bahamian people will have to make a determination about persons who do not go according to the Constitution once they've been given that responsibility. The Bahamian people have to take that matter.
Well, you a professor. What you suggest we should do in Freeport? You're the professor.
The only thing I will suggest you do is you act constitutionally sound. Now, the problems in Grand Bahama could be solved, you know. That's not a difficult thing to solve.
Look at me, solve it then.
No, but the people who are involved in it, that's their responsibility, not mine. See, I know the Constitution is supreme. Now, they need to know it too. If they don't know it, then they're going to keep going round in circles.
That's mean what you teach is anything?
No, it's not.
So why you can't do nothing but this situation? Anyway, I gone.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I gone with that loud. Yeah, I gone.
Let me just say for the benefit of the Bahamians, it is not my responsibility to deal with the particular issue that the gentleman mentioned. I understand his concern, but being a responsible citizen, when I come on this show, just like I said to him earlier, I have to give him a constitutional answer. That's all I'm sticking with is the Constitution. Now, any other law that they have in Grand Bahama, with the Port Authority or the Water Corporation or whatever, and it doesn't violate the Constitution, fine. But obviously they got all kinds of problems down there because they never seem to get anything working right. So if the people of Grand Bahama have to deal with that, the citizenry of Grand Bahama, and also those persons who are in business in that community have to deal with it. They got to take responsibility. Don't leave it up to one particular individual. That has been a problem in this country where we sit back and sacrifice individuals who are trying their level best to better this country. So do not do that, Bahamians. That is not right. Once you know it's not constitutionally sound, then you could go for the kill. It's just as simple as that.
I have a question from a Facebook viewer. back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yes.
It says, what does the Constitution say if a Bahamian man gets married to a foreign woman with children and he decides to adopt said children? The Constitution doesn't address that, does it?
Not that I know of. If I understand what the is saying,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I've heard people talking about adopting children and making them Bahamians, but I don't know anything about that.
I think that would come from the Nationality Act as opposed to the Constitution, correct?
But see, the Constitution tells you how you become a citizen. I don't need no Nationality Act to tell me anything about citizenship. Where they going with that?
So you could afford to adopt them, in other words, but that don't give them the right, according to the Constitution, to become citizens of the Bahamas.
The Constitution says clearly how anybody can become a citizen.
Right.
So let's deal with that. But don't talk no nonsense and adding statute law and mixing up with constitutional law. That's a dangerous mixture. That's where we're going to get in a lot of trouble. Constitutional law is superior to statute law. If you're going to deal with statute law, fine. Deal with statute law, but don't mix it up with the supreme law. That's where the danger comes in. And I think this is what's happening right now, this portion of the Nationality Act.
Mm.
That's where the danger comes in, because you're going to see some other strange things as we move further into this act, which are unconstitutional. Because the Constitution doesn't support it. How could you come up with something like this? It has no basis in law, none whatsoever. See, even if they come up with something that's unconstitutional, it has no validity. Okay? It doesn't exist. It's null and void. It's like it never existed. And that's how I always look at these funny things that these people pass. And like I said, Ms. Malcolm, I didn't even know that this would have been the first law I would speak to publicly, live on air, as to whether the law is constitutionally sound, yes or no. No ifs, no ands, no buts. And like I said, I just got to know about this legislation just recently. And I'm very disappointed that we have this kind of legislation and people have been misled and deceived by it.
Okay, we have to take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to continue with this Masterclass Monday with Professor Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson, discussing the Nationality Act in comparison to the Constitution of the Bahamas. Don't go anywhere, and like and share the show on Facebook if you haven't already done so. Let everybody know you need to be tuned in to learn about what's really going on in our country as it relates to our constitutional rights. We'll be back after this.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses,
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with Professor Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson, on this Masterclass Monday. How do you join in on the conversation? Easy. 3260271, 3260271, 3260272. 3260272. Those are the numbers to call. The WhatsApp line for numbers for calls as well as text messages is 801-0271. 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Facebook channel of Global 99.5 FM, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm page. And you can also check out our YouTube channels. And we're on Cable Bahamas channel 974. And obviously, if you're listening by way of radio, 99.5 FM on your dial. All right, so let's get back to business. I do have a question that is being asked by somebody on Facebook.
Yes.
And that question or comment says, going back to the question about a married man marrying a foreign woman with children and deciding to adopt the child. That person says, last I checked, this comes under the Heritage Act. Just wanted to know if the Constitution had anything to say towards this. Another person says the government is treasonous and there's no getting around that.
Did they call it, say the Heritage Act? They meant the Inheritance Act.
They said the Heritage Act, but they may mean inheritance. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's one thing to talk about inheritance. That's a whole different kettle of fish altogether.
Mm.
You know, so I don't know how they get mixed up like that, but such is the way it is.
Okay. All right. So let's continue now. Now here's where it gets a little sticky.
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna go on to the next section. It says, this is the Bahamas Nationality Act. This is Section 2, or should I say Part 2, on the acquisition of citizenship. And we're now going to turn our attention to Section 5.1. Okay, it reads, subject to the provisions of this section, the minister may at his discretion cause any person of full age and capacity who is a Commonwealth citizen or a British protected person to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas if that person makes application for such registration to the minister in the prescribed manner and satisfies the minister that he is qualified to be so registered under the provisions of the second schedule.
That whole section is out of order, completely out of order. The minister doesn't have such authority. That's point number one. Point number two, again, I go back to the Constitution. It says specifically how an individual can qualify for citizenship. At the minister's discretion, what the minister may be thinking. Might have had a bad day, then what?
Might have wake up on the wrong side.
Wake up on the wrong side of the bed, then what? No, that whole thing, that whole section there, that's out of whack. That's completely out of whack.
When you compare it to the Constitution.
When you compare it to the Constitution, you get a totally different picture. That which is in 5.1, I think you said it's 5.1.
Yes.
In this, that's not in the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't say nothing about that. About the minister as he thinks fit. Give me a break, man. Who gave him that power and authority? He took it unto himself. Or Parliament gave it to him? Parliament is in error. Parliament cannot supersede the Constitution.
So what do you do, Professor, when you have the lawmakers who don't seem to
be
interested in following the law?
I love those kind of questions. And I go to Article 24.1. And let me just say this for the person who called from Grand Bahama and was asking about the situation down there. Bahamians, it is most important that you watch what the government of the Bahamas is doing, what the Parliament of the Bahamas is doing, what your representatives are doing. You're going to have to approach them and tell them when they're wrong. Now, if you don't know your Constitution, you're not going to be able to do it. That's why we're having these classes every Monday. So you can have some understanding, basic, fundamental understanding. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start at some point. This is a very serious matter. Obviously, the government of the Bahamas is going down the wrong hill, going down the drain with this Nationality Act. It is not constitutionally sound. When you have a government making decisions about citizenship in your country that are not constitutionally sound, you're asking for problems. It's a recipe for disaster. Someone used that expression on something else. And that person was not constitutionally sound. We'll deal with that in another show. See, the thing is, you watch what they say and watch what they do. That is very important. The Bahamian people have the responsibility to make sure, bring a government or a representative back in line. They're supposed to be working for us as citizens of this country. If they fail to do it, then we have to take the necessary constitutionally mandated action that is essential to bring change. Do not sit and grumble and say, you got to wait for 5 years. Nothing like that is in the Constitution that says you have to wait for any 5 years. If you are dissatisfied, then you have to tell them. And if they may decide, well, I ain't going to do nothing about it, you stay right there. You ain't going to do nothing about it. You'll see what will happen to you. That's all you got to tell them. And you tell them no more. The point is the Bahamian people have to act. I saw what they did to overthrow the government in Sudan. And I heard the report where it says the people just went in there. And the government is no more. The Constitution suspended. Everything just stops. Come on, man. What are we saying? Is that what we want to see in the Bahamas? We want to see that nonsense in the Bahamas? When we have a strong track record in this country by the Bahamian people, not by no political party, and nothing to do with no political party. It has to do with the behavioral patterns of the Bahamian people over almost 300 years of parliamentary democracy. We haven't had much representation in Parliament. But the Bahamian people have learned how to peacefully remove a government out of power. One of the problems we have in this country is finding the right government to put in place to govern our national affairs. Because the problem is too much damage is being done. And we never seem to be able to get it fixed. Because once it's done. You can't, some things you can't reverse. How are you going to reverse it? You can't reverse it. Now, you could pick up the pieces and move on, But you can't keep allowing the country to go from one crisis to another and you do nothing about it. So we're going to have to correct the government of the Bahamas because the government right now is going off course when it comes to citizenship.
So when you say that some things you can't correct, do you believe that one of those things that we gotta just let it go are all of those who may have acquired citizenship in this country outside of the provisions of the Constitution prior to now? We gotta just let that go?
No, we could correct that. But I said some things that have happened in the past to our nation, which has damaged the nation. You may not be able to change the fact that the nation was damaged at that point in time. Okay? Now, those who got citizenship by fraud, we're going all the way back to July the 10th, 1973, and knock all of them out because that's unconstitutional. They are not supposed to have it. They got it by fraud. That's a fraudulent act, and you're using this, and this go all the way back to 73 now. I didn't even know that this was the case until recently. And when I saw the heading, the things they're supposed to be covered in this act, I say, you don't need no act for this. Act for what? When the Constitution is crystal clear as to how citizenship ought to be dealt with in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and you ain't gonna tell me nothing different. Any funny thing you come up with, Professor Thompson ain't checking for that because that's unconstitutionally, not constitutionally sound. It's ultra vires the Constitution. So it cannot stand. And that's what the Bahamian people need to understand. We have to tell the government that, not just one or two persons. You've got to tell your representative. Well, see, I can't see mine. Yeah, I don't know where he is. Once I get hold of him, I'll tell him too.
Whoever is your representative, please call Professor. Make an appointment to see Professor.
I have to tell him, and I can tell some others too. Because the government of the Bahamas is going down the wrong path when it comes to citizenship in this country because they're not constitutionally sound. See the statement you made about the minister? Where did he get that authority from? As he deems fit in his head what he thinks? Give me a break, man. Where did that come from? Anyone he could make a citizen? Give me a break, Miss Malcolm. Where did that come from? Someone must have woken up on the wrong side of the bed. That's the only thing I could say to that. But see, these are the things that lead to dictatorship and overthrow of your country. Babies better wake up quick.
You got to be careful of that.
We have seen the evidence, Ms. Malcolm, all around the world.
Yeah.
Now, we can avoid that from happening here. And the only way we can avoid it from happening here is because of the way the Bahamian people have been acting in the past. But now,
we don't have to look all the way to Sudan. That's happening right in the Caribbean. It's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. It's happening right in the Caribbean. We have a stable track record in spite of our problems. We have enough ammunition in this Constitution to remove a government that is not acting constitutionally. No ifs, no ands, no buts. We got to be playing around with them. The government acting contrary to you, you act contrary to the government. Just as simple as that. You could tell them, no, we're not doing it. We're not going along with that. What could 38, 39 people do? You got 50, 60,000 telling me listening to you. They'll wake up quick, right?
You would think.
You would think so, yeah. But that's the kind of strength we have. Article 24(1) of your Constitution. That last phrase, which I've been pointing out to Bahamian people for decades. We haven't used it. It has been sitting there all that time. Do not leave it up to a government. Well, the government of the Bahamas, let's be very specific. Do not leave it up to the government of the Bahamas to look out for your best interests. All you have to do is check the track record from July the 10th, 1973, right on up to now as it relates to citizenship. And you'll see the evidence right there for yourself. Right now, that is worse than ever before. We got all kinds of strangers in here. We don't even know who is in our country. We don't know that. But we ought to know. And the Bahamian people have to start asking immigration, asking the government of the Bahamas, asking the representatives for answers. That's why they're there.
All right, let's continue looking through this document. For those of you tuning in late, we are looking through the Bahamas Nationality Act in comparison with the Constitution of the Bahamas, because it appears that some of the decisions that are being made in the country are being made based on what is contained in the Bahamas Nationality Act, but some of those decisions appear to be in contradiction to what is in the Constitution.
That's
And we know that the Constitution is the supreme law. So where does that leave us as relates to what is being decided upon based on the Bahamas Nationality Act? Okay, so let's go back to the Nationality Act section, part 2, section 5. We're in now, and we're on 5.
5-1, 5-2 now.
Yeah, we finished at 5-1. Okay,
Yeah.
5-2. A person qualified to be registered under this section shall not be so registered unless he first renounces any other citizenship which he may possess, and if he is not a Commonwealth citizen, takes the oath of allegiance, provided that where any such person cannot renounce his citizenship of some other country under the law of that country, he may instead make such declaration concerning that citizenship as may be prescribed.
So what happens to him then?
What do you mean?
That last part with what is in the act. Notice what he said about renunciation. Then he
Mhm.
comes back and says something else. Read that last part again.
Okay, I'll read the whole thing.
Yeah.
A person qualified to be registered under this section shall not be so registered unless he first renounces any other citizenship which he may possess, and if he is not a Commonwealth citizen, takes the oath of allegiance, provided that where any such person cannot renounce his citizenship of some other country under the law of that country, he may instead make such declaration concerning that citizenship as may be prescribed.
Right. That last part what I'm interested in.
Mhm.
He cannot renounce. So you're still saying you're going to give him citizenship?
Well, that's what it seems to be saying.
Seem to be saying.
Based on the discretion of the minister?
Yeah, but that's wrong. There's no discretion in that. He doesn't qualify. He doesn't renounce. He doesn't qualify. If you want it, you renounce. That's under the Constitution. Ain't no ifs, ands about no wiggle room for no minister to think in his head that I can still give it to him. That's unconstitutional. The Constitution doesn't support it. So you just listen to the way how they phrase this thing. It has certain points of truth in it, and then at the same time they come back and say something totally contrary to the Constitution. That's a dangerous mixture. A mixture of good and evil. Huh? That's a dangerous mixture. It'd be good or it'd be evil. The point is that when you have these kind of things happening in your country, it is not going to argue well for the development of this country. And that is what the Bahamian people have to look at and contend with, because right now it is in a terrible state when it comes to citizenship. We got plenty of people around here walking around with papers, say they're Bahamian citizens, and they never qualify. We don't know how many people have been naturalized since 1973, year by year, from what countries they came from in this country, and whether the indigenous population is being outnumbered or has been outnumbered. See, these are factors we have to look at. Then you got this large listing of personalities who made applications, say they want to be citizens. And the minister himself admitted he got some fraudulent people in there. People giving false information. Got citizenship by fraud. What are you going to do with those two? See, we already have problems, and therefore, in the interest of national security and public safety, the government of the Bahamas needs to take action to protect the interests of the Bahamian people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's being done. All I see just the minister got a whole bunch of applications. More and more people say they want to be citizens. So you got a whole army of people planning to be citizens. And then they talk about full age. The Constitution says 1 year window of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
18 to 19, that's it. The door shuts. Now you got another personality somewhere else trying to spin that one, but you can't. It gives you within 12 months. That's it. So if you're 50 and 55 and talk about you applying, you could forget that. You don't qualify. You're way past the time. You know what could happen, what people are doing out there, way past the time you talk about making them citizens. What kind of nonsense in their head, you making these people citizens in your own country? That is detrimental to the stability of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Mm.
That's dangerous. And Bahamians got to wake up quick before we do. Here's this, Ms. Malcolm, this is happening right in our 50th year. You have not seen the worst of it yet, because some more information is going to be given to the public. Very critical information. You haven't seen anything yet. Some things that went down, Ms. Malcolm, over the last 50 years as an independent nation can cause your head to stand on end.
My.
We are not, today as I speak to you now on May 1, this is May 1st, right?
Mm-hmm.
May Day, I think they say it is. May 1st, 2023, which is supposed to be our 50th year.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a very dangerous predicament as a nation. We have to face the harsh reality that we've got to save our country. We need our Constitution. That's the only way we can work it. Constitutionally sound, we can make progress.
I want to read a comment from one of our WhatsApp listeners. It says, how can any Bahamian have faith in a government that does not follow the Constitution, which is supreme law, yet politicians and their political parties are praised and are considered as doing a great job? My saying is, even the devil does good things sometimes. How can these so-called leaders live it themselves? And how can Bahamians think them worthy to lead?
Let me just answer that, Ms. Malcolm, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what the texter, that's the text, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
That is why education is so important, texter. I wish everyone knew the Constitution the way I know it. You won't have any problems with government. None. It would be over, finished.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will have enough people who will take the appropriate action against that government that will put them in place.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten away with it because, as I understand it, the people said they didn't know. Fine. 50 years of not knowing. We have to start to know what our rights, our freedoms, our privileges are. So I won't cry over spilled milk. But we got some serious national problems. And I always ask the question, what is the purpose of a government? If a government cannot solve national problems, why do you have them? If you have a representative that doesn't deal with the constituents in that constituency, why have him there?
We have a call on the line, Professor. Welcome to GPS.
Michelle,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Professor, what's up?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Excellent job, man. Excellent job. Michelle, in relation to the adoption, like the professor said, the Constitution does not make any provision. Well, he held this comment, but I'm here to say the Constitution did not make any provision for that in Chapter 2. You have 14 articles. 8 of them brings you citizenship. Article 3, 4, 6, and 8 is automatic citizenship. Article 5, 7, 9, and 10, you have entitlement to apply, providing you meet the prerequisites. In order for an adoption to take place, the government will now have to come back to the people with a referendum adding adoption into the Constitution. Because the Constitution doesn't speak to that. It speaks about marriage and every other thing else. So in relation to a man adopting a child, like Professor said, and the child is not a Bahamian, see, because the problem you will run into, the Constitution says that you have the right to apply at the age of 18. So if the child is 5 or 6, they don't have the right to apply based on the Constitution. It's ultra virus. Then you're dealing with citizenship. Okay, so that might help that particular area. You were reading Articles 5.1 and 5.2 in relation to the minister. The minister don't have no power. Probably next week as we go on, we'll get into that. Here is it, Michelle. In relation to renunciation, this is what I've been trying to tell the Bahamian public for a long time. The people from Hispaniola West, there should be no application on the minister's desk that is approved for them, Michelle. The reason being they cannot renounce their citizenship. They cannot. Okay, there are 4 prerequisites. Born in the Bahamas to non-Bahamian parents, applying with that 1-year window Professor talked about between the age of 18 and 19, being able to renounce and subject to national security and public policy. Professor Michelle, if you would read the Nationality Act in Article 5, at the end of it, or 9, it doesn't even make the people subject to national security or public policy. Everything in the Nationality Act is antivirus to Article 7.1 in the Constitution. It's like God versus the devil. Nothing the Constitution asks for in Article 7.1, nothing it asks for is in Article 5 of the Nationality Act. It's totally opposite. That's a fraudulent document. Michelle, any question you have, you can ask me while I talk. That is a fraudulent document. It is anti-violate the Constitution. June 19th, 2012, Article 13 in the Haitian Constitution was abrogated, meaning it was repealed. There is no more backdoor for Haitians to renounce their citizenship. In the United States of America, you have the 14th Amendment, where they can get citizenship. Article 349A5, they can renounce. In Canada, right, you have articles in 1985, C29 article, what gives you citizenship. Article 7.1, you can renounce. In the Bahamas, you get citizenship through Article 3, 4, 6, 8, 5, 7, 9, and 10. You can renounce through Article 12. In the Haitian Constitution, you get citizenship through Article 11. But there's no backdoor. Article 13, which allowed them to renounce, has been abrogated. So they are Haitians for life. Here's where the problem comes in. Article 7 of the Constitution of the Bahamas said that you have this right to apply. You're entitled to do it. But then it went on to say, providing that you renounce the citizenship of your country of origin.
Right.
The problem they are facing with that application form is that they cannot renounce. Therefore, they should not even be given. Now, the problem is, when they are given the Bahamian citizenship, they're still holding on to their Haitian nationality. So that is in contradiction to Article 3, subsection 3C, and Article 4, subsection B of the Constitution, dual citizenship. It's plenty problems. Dual citizenship is not allowed in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. No Haitian, right, should be approved. None, as of today, because they cannot renounce. I mean, it's simple as that. All you have to do is be honest, you know. to not, if you would even try to prove them, that you have several forms in the immigration department. Form 3 and Form 6, like Professor mentioned, is fraudulent, because those forms allow you to apply for citizenship after your 19th birthday. The Constitution speaks against that. Right. You can find that in the Jean Rooney ruling at the Privy Council, where he did not apply between 18 and 19.
Yes.
And the Privy Council sent it back to Hilton Court for them to consider permanent residency. But the citizenship was taken away because he didn't apply in time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fraudulent document. If you're using Form 2 in the immigration department, for people who were born here, that is a fraudulent document. Because what happens in that application form, they have to bring certain documents. One of the documents they have to present to the immigration department is a passport. So what do? They go by the embassy, get a passport. That means they're Haitian national. Then they bring that back to the immigration department, and you still approving them? They cannot return that passport back to the Haitian embassy because they shall renounce it. So how could you allow them to bring a passport, because that's a prerequisite, to the immigration department, knowing they can't take it back, and you still giving them a Bahamian passport? Every citizenship that was given out from 1973 needs to be vetted, and they are null, and they are void. In closing, Michelle, June 1973 to June 18, 2012, they had to go back to Port-au-Prince before the Justice Department to renounce. They never went. You know what I know? 1956 to 1971 was Francois Duvalier. Ain't no one going back under him. His son took over from 71 to 1986. That's 29 years. So they had the nerve to go back to renounce because they know it was going to happen. As of 2012, they cannot renounce. So if they cannot renounce, according to Article 7.1, they don't meet the prerequisite for citizenship. Thank you, Michelle.
Wow.
Yes.
Sound like you got a junior professor on your hand, a professor.
Well, he is quite accurate and precise in his evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, we need more people like him.
Yes, with the knowledge.
Okay, with the knowledge and understanding. See, I said we need more people like myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, if people understood the Constitution like I do, we won't be having any problems with this government.
Now, just for the record,
that would be history.
He talked about the country, people of Hispaniola West not being able to renounce their citizenship. Okay, so these are the countries that do not allow renouncing of their citizenship.
Yes, you should read that.
Okay. Morocco, Argentina, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Niger, Panama, Qatar, Tonga, Uruguay, the Vatican, and Yemen. Those are the countries or the territories that do not, I repeat, do not allow you to renounce citizenship.
So that should tell you something about Haiti. Haiti was mentioned. Also the Vatican, that's a nation and a church.
Mm-hmm. That's
a different kettle of fish altogether. But the caller is very accurate in what he said. And I commend him for putting that into the record. Because Bahamians need to understand we're in very serious predicament. The country is in terrible shape. We have a lot of strange things happening in this country which are unconstitutionally sound.
Well, we have to take a break. Professor, it's 3:33.
Oh my boy.
Yeah, we've been in. My God. Anyhow, we got to take this break, y'all. Got to pay bills. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lear, safety is our #1 priority.
Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with Professor Syndey McArthur, Walter Thompson. We are in the midst of a Masterclass Monday show where we are looking at the Bahamas Nationality Act in comparison to the Constitution of the Bahamas. If you haven't already done so, like and share the show. Let everybody know that we're on the air. You can call in at 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. 971. And we're also on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. And you can also catch us on YouTube and, of course, on Global Radio 99.5 FM. Okay. Trying to see if I've read this one already. We have a.
I think that is 552.
Yeah, but no, I'm looking at a message on WhatsApp.
I see. Okay.
It says, I listen to your classes often and I agree with Mr. Thompson on our governments pass laws and regulations to suit themselves. Not only the government, but the lawyers and magistrates wheel and deal and for their own interests. PLP and FNM, they're all alike. I'm ready to demonstrate or do whatever is needed. That is a text message coming in by way of WhatsApp.
If I might want to comment on that.
Okay.
That text is going to be called upon because we got some serious business to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
So Dexter, you just keep listening and you will have your opportunity to do something to save this country because it takes the collective will of the Bahamian people to change things in this country. It is not one or two or three or a couple of people. No. A few may start it, but it has to snowball to the point where people are going to have to take the knowledge and use it. And I'm going to give my numbers out later toward the end of the show because I'm going to tell Bahamian people there is a right way to do things. You can be constitutionally sound all the time as long as you stay within the confines of the Constitution. And there's plenty room in there for everybody to remain constitutionally sound because there will be critics who will try and attack you, but they have no leg to stand on. Just like the Minister of National Security, Minister for Immigration or Citizenship, let me put it that way. The Minister for Citizenship and Nationality hasn't a leg to stand on. But people are writing things on pieces of paper and handing them out like candy and say that's what it should be. But it's unconstitutional.
All right, let's get back to the Bahamas Nationality Act. So we're now going to turn our attention to Part 2, Section 6.1.
Yes.
It states, the minister may, at his discretion, cause the minor child of a citizen of the Bahamas to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas upon application made in the prescribed manner by the parent or guardian of such child. Let me read that again. The minister may, at his discretion, cause the minor child of a citizen of the Bahamas to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas upon application made in the prescribed manner by the parent or guardian of such child.
What's this prescribed manner? Is it constitutionally sound? That's what the question you need to ask oneself. Is this a figmentation of somebody's mind? Or this is based on the Nationality Act?
This is the
which is
Nationality
unconstitutional?
Act.
No.
Well, Part 2 says, and then caller, we're going to come to you. Part 2 says of Section 6.
Yes.
The minister may, at his discretion, in such special circumstances as he may think fit, cause any minor to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas. So that answers your question.
He's way out of line.
It's according to what they feel like on that particular day.
As he thinks fit. Give me a break. Give me a break.
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm. How are you?
Good.
Your guest.
Good.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I've been following your classes for the last couple of months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's obvious you're quite knowledgeable with regards to the Constitution. I also listened to your guests, a few callers back, who also seem to be quite knowledgeable about the Constitution. My question is, it's quite obvious that government's been doing some things against the Constitution for a minute, and I'm wondering why hasn't nobody challenged it? Why isn't people like yourselves take up the matter and challenge these laws that's against the Constitution?
Why hasn't people like yourself done it?
I don't know the Constitution.
Why not?
Well, just like any other typical behavior, I just never found it important to look at the
So
Constitution.
what's stopping you from getting that knowledge?
Well, I mean, I'm learning now. These classes inspired me to make me want to pick up the Constitution.
Okay, good.
So
that's what they're designed to do. See, let me tell you why I come back at you like that. Because Professor mentioned it on the show earlier today. We here in the Bahamas are very guilty of sitting back and expecting somebody else to do the heavy lifting while we sit back and we watch movie like, we eating popcorn and watching what can happen like we watching a movie. And then when that person goes stand out there on their own, or only a handful of them, and the powers that be know it's only a handful of them, and they come and they go for the jugular, you're all sitting back chewing, you're all eating on your popcorn and saying, gee, look how they do them. They shouldn't have do them like that.
I'll be the first to admit that, with regard to the Constitution, I'm one of those behemoths who I'll be the first to admit to it. I won't call it ignorance. I just never found it fit to pick up the Constitution.
Wow.
And again, this here now inspired me now to, I listened to your show specifically just to learn about the Constitution.
Well, I'm glad that you do, because that's what this show is designed to do, inspire the masses. And all you got to do is Google it. You even ain't got to go no place downtown to get no copy and nothing. If you got a smartphone in your hand, Google it. Constitution of the Bahamas, boom, right in your face. So ain't no excuse. We have no excuse, but we got to stop sitting back and waiting for a hero to go and become the martyr while we sit down and eat popcorn and watch movie.
At the same time, we got to stop waiting for the heroes to sit back and talk and don't do nothing.
What he just said, I didn't quite get it. Carla, would you repeat that?
Say it again? No, I said at the same time, you have to wait for the heroes to stop sitting back and not doing nothing.
May I say something to you, sir? I appreciate you listening to the shows and you're learning, and that's a good thing. This exercise that we're going through is to provide information, sound, accurate, precise information, because once you're constitutionally sound, you are always right, you're never wrong. That's point number one. Point number two requires organizational structure. In other words, the Bahamian people have to be well organized. See, we haven't even reached that part yet. But I'll mention it at the end of the show.
But let me just say that, Mr. Thompson, you're one of the few people I find it very pleasant to listen to on the radio, because when people speak about legal terms, it can be very confusing, and I like the way that you break it down in layman's terms.
Yes, thank
you.
So
that's one of the reasons why I appreciate listening to you, and again, why you inspire me to read the Constitution. So again, let me just say thank you for your input and your enlightenment.
Well, thank you.
And I'll continue to listen. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much. And let me just say this before you go. The point is that we have to get our people to understand the Constitution. That's point number one. Point number two is the organizational part, organizing people for action. We haven't gotten that point yet. Because see, in this business, you're never going to get me to make any mistake, because I will always be constitutionally sound. I don't care what other people say. See, it doesn't bother me when people do foolishness and nonsense. But what I am saying is the Bahamian people are the ones we have to count on to bring change in this country. This is not a one-person job, a couple of people. It requires the collective will. That's why I always go to Article 24.1. Do not depend on the governor of the Bahamas to protect your interests. We have 50 years of independence to prove what has been going on in this country to the detriment of the Bahamian people. And you haven't heard all of it yet. You're just getting a portion of it now. Just wait till the rest to come. It can cause your head to stand on end.
All right, I'll continue to listen.
Thank you very
and I'll
much.
lend my support wherever I can.
All right, okay.
Thank you so much for calling. All right, let's take our final break. And then on the other side of the break, because we only got, 10 minutes left in the show?
Yes.
On the other side of the break, we'll wrap it all up. All right, we'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Longevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Longevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blasted love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Longevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
All right, so with only about 8 minutes left in the show, I don't know if it makes sense for us to go on to section 7 because that is quite a lot. And I think we should just start section 7 afresh on the next show. Okay, so let's look at a couple of the comments here. Jillian says, love Mr. Constitution, but we need to get moving to show the government we have had enough. Based on this comment, is there a danger of moving too fast if you're not adequately prepared?
You're quite right. I agree with that statement you just made.
Explain
and
why.
That, I'm going to tell the Bahamian people why, because people are saying they want to see something happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I love it. But we must always be constitutionally sound. I know the Bahamian people. Miss Malcolm, I had to wait 50 years for them to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
50 years. That's half a century. I waited patiently for that.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the Constitution year in and year out for decades. Nobody was checking. 4 things caused that to happen. The death of Her Majesty the Queen, September the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
The ascension of Prince Charles to King Charles III, I think it is, to the throne on September the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
There's also going to be the coronation on May 6th. I think that's Saturday.
Yes, Saturday coming.
That's good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the internal pressures that the Bahamian people have been going through for 50 years, they're wondering, well, what has happened to this place? Why are we in the predicament we're in? And the 4th thing is external pressures where the Bahamian people are being pushed left, right, and center, and the government of the Bahamas being shoved here, there, and everywhere as to what they should be doing, listening to all kinds of people out there who don't mean us any good. Those four things has caused the Bahamian people to say, you know something? We got to look at this Constitution, see what this Constitution is saying. And I'm delighted that they're doing it. We have to tread very carefully as to how we do our business. Some things I have to say in the open for people to get the message. Other things you don't talk. You just go and you do some things you have to do. It's just as simple as that. I agree that action has to be taken. But the point is we have to know what we are doing. The Bahamian people have to understand what it is that they need to be doing. Do not be afraid of the government. The government can't do nothing to you. They walk contrary to you, you walk contrary to them. God says in his word, if you walk contrary to me, I will walk contrary to you. That's a biblical principle.
Oh, what do you mean they can't do you nothing, Professor?
No, they can't. I'm living proof of that. And I ain't backing down for nobody because I don't fear no man.
You ain't never scared.
They are mortal, physical human beings. I trust God.
I hear that.
Okay? So they don't scare me. I respect them as leaders, but they're down the wrong wicket, that's all. I don't have to agree with the government when they're wrong, particularly when they're not constitutional, and I'll tell them to their face. I'm not going to hide that from them. We ought to tell the government about, now if they don't want to do nothing about it, no problem. You'll see just how far you'll get. The people have to wake up and understand the power was always in their hand. It never went anywhere. We just haven't been using it. That's all. For 50 years, I had to wait for the Bahamian people to wake up to realize they got a constitution that they could work with. You know how long 50 years is? Do we have another 50 years to wait again? I hope not. So those out there who are calling for this and calling for that, they want to see this, they want to see that, you can get your chance. See, there's a way to test the Bahamian people. See, Mr. Thompson's not no novice in this business. I know them, and I can tell whether they're serious or not. I know them. I know my Bahamian people. That's why I know the stranger from the Bahamian. I think Bahamians genuinely want to see change in this country. But whatever you do, always be constitutionally sound. You don't have to worry about any government. They're the least of my worries. You don't have to be afraid to speak. The Constitution allows you freedom of expression, freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. I do that all the time, whether I be on air or off air. Ain't nothing changing. I'm sticking rigidly with the Constitution. But you show respect to others who may disagree. Say, okay, no problem. You have that right to disagree. I ain't gonna get into argument with you because you don't understand or you don't see. But we will work with you and help you to see what your Constitution says. Because it takes the collective will of the Bahamian people to bring change. And Bahamians, we're gonna have to move very quickly on this. We can't go for another 50 years. We have very limited time. We have a window of opportunity that's in front of us right now to be well organized, to take the appropriate action. And you're going to see it, Bahamians. It's coming. But we're not going to rush into the lion's head. We ain't going to do that.
Well, anybody with sense will tell you when you're getting ready to go into a battle, you need to have a good plan.
You have to have a good plan, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Professor, time gone.
Oh, well, we are at the end of the show.
I want to thank you once again
Thank you very much
for being a part of the Masterclass Monday series.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are being inspired, like we heard from one of our
Oh,
callers
yes.
today.
I am delighted with that call.
People are learning more and more about the Constitution, and this is a good thing.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much. Listen, y'all. Tomorrow, child, set your alarm. Do whatever you need to do to remind yourself. Do not miss tomorrow's show because we like to talk about accountability. when it comes to the government of the Bahamas. But what about the church? Yeah, I go in there tomorrow.
That's good.
Set your house in order. That's the name of the show for tomorrow. We're going to have a very powerful guest on, and he's going to ruffle some feathers, I can tell you now. If you got plenty corn, wrap them up now because they can get mash. But until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good afternoon, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views